Welcome to the magnificent MG Car Club stand here at the NEC Classic Motor Show. The MG Car Club, based at Kimber House, near the very site in Abingdon where MGs were once built, celebrated 90 years last year. And this year here at the NEC Classic Motor Show, they've got MGs that cover every era of this fantastic British marque. Let's go and take a closer look at some of these wonderful cars.
At the time the anniversary edition of the MGB GT was being produced at Abingdon in 1975, it was decided to produce just one MG Midget to Jubilee specification, a strictly one-off model. MG's management decided that the car would be raffled, and with every member of the Abingdon workforce being given a ticket. The raffle was drawn at the MG Open Day in August 1975, and the car was won by a shop floor worker who didn't even drive. He decided to sell the car, and it was purchased by Hartwells of Oxford, the local Leyland cars dealer, who used it as a promotional aid to sell their cars. The car eventually was sold to Michael Cohen, who is the current owner and has displayed it on the stand today. With the exception of its battery, the car remains totally original, its mileage being just 176. Next up, the youngest of the MGs on the MG Car Club stand this year, with the success of the Z range that celebrates its anniversary this year, which in their day were outselling Rovers by 10 to 1. A new range-topping car was required though, and the engine they decided to go for was the Ford Mustang engine, this being the 4.6 litre V8 with the engine and gearbox from the Mustang GT. With such a big engine up front, it was necessary to re-engineer the car, and this was done by ProDrive. The work saw almost a complete redesign of the floor pan to accommodate the engine and transmission tunnel for the final drive to the rear wheels. A whole host of other redesigns were also done, including rear suspension, which robbed it of its spare wheel, brakes, battery, steering rack were all relocated. This is number 77 out of a production run of 883, and has been further upgraded by its owners to include a Roush supercharged version of the Ford V8 with 385 brake horsepower, a top speed of 178 miles per hour, and 0 to 60 in sub 5 seconds. This is one of the C-types from the Earl of March's team of MGs that took part in the 1931 Double 12 race at Brooklands. The Earl of March won that race 90 years ago, and the car we're featuring on the club stand this year came a respectable fourth, with another of his team's cars following in fifth. Second and third places also fell to other individually entered C-types, and this was sufficient to gain the Earl of March MGs the team prize. The first 14 of these C-types was finished by MG in time to be delivered to their new owners in the paddock at Brooklands during practice prior to that race, and just 44 were made in total. To have such a great result with an unproven car on what at the time was one of the most grueling motor races in the world was an incredible achievement for MG. The success caused a rush on C-types the rest of 1931, with customers ordering them for the Irish GP and the RACTT in Ulster, where the famous Norman Black found victory at the wheel of this very car. The MG R-Type was a revolutionary car design and was designated as EX146. It was launched in April 1935 and was available to new customers to enter the International Trophy race at Brooklands. This was the first British car to have fully independent suspension fitted, and the first MG to be sold as a production single-seater race car. The car was an immediate success, particularly in the hands of George Easton and Doreen Evans, who was the first to enter an event with the R-Type at the 1935 JCC International Trophy race at Brooklands. What finally enabled the start of this recreation was the return to the UK of RA0255, which had been in South Africa since the late 30s. The owner of this car, Jeff, was involved in that original car's preparation through his former workshop business, and that was the catalyst to kickstart this project. During a total strip down, Jeff was allowed to take pictures and make drawings of that original car, and then he had to spend many hours fabricating and hunting down the hundreds of components needed to recreate the car. We interview him in full on another video available on the MG Car Club YouTube channel, so head over there for more info on this lovely R-Type. This MG is a very special tribute built to evoke EX182, the MGA prototypes that raced at Le Mans in 1955. 5 vehicles were built of the originals, 3 of which were registered to race at Le Mans. They were supposed to bring publicity for the new MGA model, but the race was overshadowed both by the tragic accident that killed 83 spectators, but also by a further accident in which one of the EX182 drivers, Dick Jacobs, suffered severe injuries. More information on this evocation of the EX182s can be found in our interview with the owner elsewhere on the MG Car Club's YouTube channel. The MGF Register also had a display of some of their finest examples of the breed as they concluded their year of celebration of 25 plus 1 years since the MGF was launched. They were just a short walk across the walkway from the main MG Car Club stand. MGs on track were also on hand with all the information you need to experience your MG out on some of the UK's most iconic circuits throughout the next year. And the young members branch of the MG Car Club also had their own stand at the show and showcased some of the MGs that are the pride and joy of the younger enthusiast of MGs in the MG Car Club.